The director takes a bunch of candid pictures of them, but at that moment, shows suddenly arise, and the crowd is excited to see him. He approaches Miyu, saying they can get on with their shoot. He pushes her up against the wall, wanting to ask her out for drinks, but Yuya can see she is uncomfortable. He interrupts them, and Sho wonders who he is. Sho tries to punch him, but Yuya throws him away. Everyone is shocked, and Yuya thinks about how slow the punch felt. He worries about causing a scene, thinking he will be in trouble for beating up such a good-looking guy, but the crowd cheers for him, thinking he is so cool. Sho wonders how he lost, even though he does boxing. The director tells him to leave, because they caught everything in 4K. Sho runs off, and Miyu thanks him for his help, revealing that Sho has been following her around, and she didn't know what to do about it. But the director says that Sho's behavior has always been bad, and with this, he is unlikely to work again. He wonders if Yuya is interested in doing more modeling. Yuya thanks him for giving him the opportunity to work with so many professionals, but he thinks he isn't good enough to do the job properly, so he ultimately turns them down. The director respects his decision, and they end up giving him all the clothes from the shoot as thanks for his help, because they weren't able to pay him since he is just an amateur. Yuya thinks having the experience was enough, but the director says it's only natural to be compensated for work, especially since he was the one who saved them, so Yuya accepts it. Miyu hopes to work with him again in the future, and they wish him good luck. In their car afterwards, the director thinks it's a shame that Yuya didn't want to continue, knowing he would have been a star. Looking back at the photos, Miyu thinks about how different Yuya was, and the director can see her turning red, so he teases her about having a thing for him. Yuya organizes his wardrobe, packing all of his new clothes, and we see that his photo has gotten around. The agencies wonder who he could be, and we see a woman who is desperate to sign him, ordering her associate to find him before any other agencies get to him. Seeing how he was able to stand up next to Miyu when he is just an amateur, she is determined not to let him get away. Meanwhile, in the other world, we see Lexia's knights fighting against some goblins. The knights are struggling, and there is suddenly a goblin that appears behind her, but the goblin is defeated as Yuya makes his appearance. They are shocked to see him, and Yuya effortlessly slays the goblins. Lexia is glad to see he is real, and Yuya finishes off the goblins. He treats one of the knights, and Lexia approaches him, saying she came to the dark forest because she had something to tell him. Yuya wonders what she wants, and she suddenly asks if he will marry her, causing them all to be shocked. Her knight wonders what she is thinking, reminding her of her position as a princess, saying they know nothing about Yuya, but Lexia insists it's love at first sight. The two start arguing, but Yuya interrupts, saying it's dangerous in the forest, so he invites them back to his house, which is a surprise for them to learn he actually lives in the forest. They are amazed to see his house, and the knight introduces himself as Owen, the captain of the Arzelia Knights, and he introduces Lexia as the first princess of Arzelia, mentioning that she is second in line for the throne. She thanks him for saving them once again, and Yuya starts to worry about his behavior after learning she is a princess. But they tell him not to worry, since it's not an official visit, and he is their savior. Yuya introduces himself, but they find his name strange, and think he could be from another country. Lexia fantasizes about him being royalty from another country, but Owen worries about other possibilities. Owen reveals that they were there to look for him, because the first time he saved Lexia, she didn't get the chance to thank him. She says she has been thinking about him ever since that day, saying that it's the first time she has ever felt that way, and she asks him to marry her once again. Yuya is overwhelmed, and thinks the proposal is just too sudden, making the princess think that love can't be so simple. Thinking about every romance novel she has read, love needs to come with obstacles, and it would be boring if things went so smoothly. So she asks to start out as his friend. Yuya gets nervous, thinking about his past experiences, but agrees to be her friend. Owen mentions there is one other reason they are there, and that is the king would like him to visit the royal palace, so that he can also offer his gratitude in person. Yuya is hesitant, but Owen says it's a royal command, and he can't leave until Yuya agrees. So Yuya has no choice but to accept the invitation. Owen mentions that it will take about 5 days including travel, but Yuya thinks it would interrupt starting at his new school, so he asks to delay the meeting, but Owen says that they are happy to wait for him, Whenever he decides to go, they take their leave, and Lexia tells him to prepare himself, because she plans to win his heart the next time they meet. Somewhere in the royal capital, we see a man reporting about their failed attempt on Lexia's life. We see a masked man, and we learn that he had sent assassins after Lexia, but they ended up in the dark forest, and the assassins were taken out by monsters. But the masked man wonders how Lexia managed to return unarmed, and warns his man not to fail him again. He takes off his mask, revealing a disfigured face, and we learn he is part of the royal family, as he swears to get his revenge on Lexia. Back at Yuya's house, he marks his calendar for when he plans to see the king. He puts on his new uniform and leaves to start his first day at the academy. Everyone stares at him as he walks, thinking he must be some kind of famous model. When he arrives, the director greets him, but apologizes because he doesn't have time to talk, but tells Yuya to remember to just enjoy himself at the school. Yuya is introduced to the class as an official student, and we see Ryo and Shingo who are happy to see him. We cut to a soccer game, and we meet a student named Roy. He scores a goal, and all the girls cheer for him. Yuya watches from the sidelines, impressed at his skill, and he is approached by a girl named Kaide. She wonders why he doesn't join the game, but Yuya says he doesn't have his gym clothes yet. We see Roy as he goes up against the opposing team himself, but he tricks them, passing the ball to his teammate Akira. Akira rushes at the goal, preparing to use his special move, but he messes up and kicks it straight at Kaide. However, Yuya manages to stop it and even scores a goal in the process. Everyone is shocked, wondering how he moves so quickly. He checks to see if Kaide is okay, but she is left stunned by his riz. Akira comes rushing over to apologize, swearing to become her servant, but Kaide says she is okay and turns him down. Ryo vouches for Akira, saying he is just a bit quirky, and Akira thanks him for saving the both of them. Later on, we see Kaori as she goes to get changed for gym class. All the girls are talking about Yuya, thinking he is like a prince. Kaide tells her about everything that happened, and the girls think he must have a girlfriend since he is so cool. But Kaori and Kaide both insist that nothing has been confirmed. During his next class, Yuya waves to Kaori who is down on the field. But suddenly, some delinquents come bursting in on motorbikes. They surround the girls, swinging their bats, and all the students check out the commotion. They recognize the group as the Red Ogres, the most dangerous delinquent group in the area. Yuya recognizes them, and sees his siblings with the group. Kaori wonders what they are doing at their school, and Yuya's brother Yuta points her out as the director's daughter. Kaori recognizes the two of them, and they say they are there to get back at her for looking down on them and accepting Yuya into the academy. Kaori warns them that the police are on the way, but Yuya's sister Sora thinks they have time before they show up, so they plan to abduct her as payback. The goons surround her, and things are looking bad. Yuya wants to save her, but finds his legs shaking. Even though he has fought far stronger opponents in the other world, he has emotional damage facing the bullies. His friends worry about him as he panics, but he manages to snap himself out of it. He opens the window and jumps out, shocking everyone since they are on the 4th floor, but Yuya lands unarmed. He charges in, confronting his old bully Araki, who says it's time to teach him a lesson. He sends his boys at Yuya, but he easily dodges all their attacks and disarms them all in an instant. Araki tries to attack, but Yuya runs right past him, focusing on saving Kaori. But he is stopped by an enormous guy named Amori. The guy charges at him, but Yuya doesn't even budge, and he throws him to the side. Yuya gets to Kaori, checking to see if she is okay, but the boss of the gang charges at Yuya. Yuya manages to dodge, but the boss attacks with his bike. Yuya jumps out of the way, and the guy ends up losing control and crashing his bike. The boss is knocked out, and the police arrive. All the delinquents are arrested, and the students are told to get back to their classes. Yuya makes sure Kaori is okay, and she suddenly becomes weak, but Yuya catches her, and they share a moment. Meanwhile, Yuya thinks that the Red Ogres were useless, but he suddenly gets choked by the boss, who blames him for their situation. Sora begs for him, but she just gets kicked away, and Yuya continues to be choked. But Yuya gets in the way, breaking them up, and Yuya thanks him. The boss charges at him, but Yuya just stares him down.